Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, or good evening, whatever it is, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for clicking on this video today, and welcome to my channel. If this is your first time, I'm going to be doing a tour of another area of my garden. So let's get right into it. I'm going to start over here where I have two 4x4 raised beds, one here and one over here. So let's start with this one. I'm growing corn for the first time. I've never grown corn before, and it looks so amazing. It's getting super tall. The name of this corn is, let's find the tag somewhere in here. Here it is. It's called Batum corn, and it's a sweet corn. So yeah, this is how tall it is. It's about maybe 3 feet tall, getting to 4 feet. And the stem has gotten so thick. Before it was really skinny, so that's why I had to put these little bamboo sticks next to it, and then I just put a piece of jute string to kind of hold it upright as it continued to grow until it got strong enough and thick enough to where it can hold itself up like this one. I think the only one that I have to do another bamboo stick on is this one in the back here because it's a little skinnier, but it looks amazing. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those growing here. I tried to plant them in like a block formation, as you can see, with the exception of this one that I have up front, because it helps the pollen be able to transfer between all of them. They will be more likely to produce corn, but they look really healthy. I don't see any bug damage. I'm hoping that the corn is fine and it doesn't have, there's this insect, I think it's called like it's some sort of worm. I don't remember the name of it, but I don't know what time of the season those start to come around. I think it's when it actually starts to grow corn, but hopefully that doesn't happen. It's looking really great so far, and I'm really grateful. I think for my first time growing corn, I think I'm doing pretty good. There's a little squash bug there. We don't want that. And then on the bottom, kind of doing a Three Sisters method. So I have some squash and some beans and peas growing here as well. This is radish that's gonna go to seed. So I'm gonna let that go to seed and then drop seeds, and maybe we'll get more radishes here. Radishes usually like cooler temperatures and like not too much sunlight. So I think as this corn grows and as the squash grows, it'll create a nice little microclimate that's a little bit cooler. So once this radish flowers and drops the seeds, they can germinate and they'll be able to grow just fine, even though it'll be like the middle of summer or the beginning of summer. And then I have some lettuce here that I've harvested from so many times, and it's still going strong. This is the butternut squash, and I only have one in this bed. In the other bed I have 2, so it's looking really good. I see that there's some flowers that are going to be coming on soon. And then along the the cage that I have back here, I don't know if you can see, I'm trying to zoom in. I have some green beans that are coming up along the sides, and there's also some peas. Just to give you a more up-close look of the peas, I have some, these are called golden sweet peas, and as you can see, we have some golden peas that are coming on. And I think this plant is doing pretty good considering the fact that there's this little bunny. So there's this little bunny that likes to come through and chomp off the stems of my peas and pull it through the cage and eat the whole plant. So I can't tell you how many times I've had to chase that little bunny away. it's really cute and I don't mind sharing, but it just likes to eat everything, so I have to set some boundaries. And then when it chomps off the stem, of course, the plant can no longer get nutrients from the soil, so it just turns brown and dies right on the trellis, which is really sad. This one was gonna have flowers and everything, but at least we have some that are still going. And pea season is almost over because it's getting warmer outside, so I'll just enjoy whatever I get from these, and then we'll start to have the green beans growing on this trellis, which, as you can see, I started those seeds down here. It's just so funny because last year I had a little bit of a rivalry with a chipmunk, and this year it's a rabbit. If it's not one thing, it's another. But yeah, that is the journey of gardening. So there's all the peas or green beans that I have coming up. I planted a lot of them because I know the pill bugs are going to get to most of them, so I wanted to plant a lot of extra so that we can have some that actually are able to grow into adulthood. And then over here, this is my rosemary bush. Came back. It survived the winter, of course, and then came back, and we have a lot of new fresh growth because we've gotten a lot of rain recently. And I planted another rosemary bush right in front of it. Very small, but it's coming up, and I think this one will do a little bit better because it's more out in the open, whereas this one is kind of under the trellis, so it's getting a little bit shaded out, and rosemary likes to be in the sun. So there is the rosemary. And then over here I have some oregano growing. This is Greek oregano, which is different from the Italian oregano that I currently have growing in my garden. The Greek oregano is a lot stronger and has a lot more medicinal properties. It also is shorter, I notice, and the stems are like a purplish color. But I really love it. It has lots of amazing properties. Anti-cancer properties, it's antiviral, antibacterial, it is anti-inflammatory, so you can do things like make a tea with it, and you can drink it, and it can help to knock out things like sore throats and colds. You can also gargle with oregano tea, and it can help with preventing gum infection and things like that, bacterial infections in the mouth, keep your teeth healthy, your gums healthy. And of course you can cook with it. So there's so many things that you can do with oregano, and this specific variety has a lot of those powerful medicinal properties. So that's why I wanted to definitely start to grow this kind in the garden as well. And then right across from there you can see all my green beans that I have growing in the other raised bed. Again, I planted lots of seeds, and I put a little cage in front of them so that the bunny can't get to them while they are trying to establish themselves. So there's that. And then here I have a zucchini. I don't know what variety this is. I think it might be a Cocosel zucchini, but there's a little zucchini growing on there. First female zucchini, and then we have a few male flowers that already opened up and closed, so hopefully by the time this female flower opens there will be a male flower that opens, which I think there will be because we have plenty on there, and so it can get pollinated and we can have our first zucchini. Next to that is a cabbage that has been through a lot. The pill bugs really tried to take this one out, but it powered through, and I think we might actually get a little cabbage. It is getting warmer, so I don't know if it's going to make it to adulthood, but we shall see. And then over here we have another butternut squash. Actually, I have two butternut squashes in this raised bed, and as you can see, there are quite a few female flowers coming on here. You can see the little squash underneath. So that's the butternut squash, and so when this flower opens, a male flower will open at the same time, and it will get pollinated, and we'll get our first squash. And there's also another one here. There's so many. In the past, I've always gotten like a bunch of male flowers first and then the female flowers come later, but they seem to be coming simultaneously. So that's a really great sign that my soil is healthy and fertile and the plant feels like it is able to bear fruit. Because usually I do not see a female flower until I get like 2 successions of male flowers, and then female flowers start to come on. So this is really exciting. And then the other one is back here. Again, we have more squash. Just looks really good. And then I have some cilantro growing in here as well. It's kind of small right now, but hopefully it'll get more established. That's the cilantro right there. Summer savory. This is a perennial herb, so it'll come back every year. And I have some thyme growing in this little pot here. As you can see, there's a little plant coming up right there. Right there. So that's exciting. And I have some thyme. We want to have lots of herbs so that the squash bugs and the squash beetles don't smell the squash, because I have a lot of squash growing. And so I'm just trying to have a lot of different herbs and different types of plants growing around so that it can deter the pests from finding them. And then moving on to this side, I'm gonna go all the way down here to my 2x6 or 3x6 raised bed, where I have mostly lettuce and onions and beets. So here's the lettuce. As you can see, I just planted this one, transplanted this. This has been in here for a while and I've harvested from it so many times and it just keeps coming back. And then I have some garlic that I planted on the outer parts. These are onions. This whole row here are onions. It's red, yellow, and white onions. So all through here, and they're gonna grow like the bulbs. And then this, right here I have a row of beets. And as you can see, there are some little seeds, or not seeds, there's some little bulbs forming at the base. And that's exciting. They're looking really good and really healthy. And then on the other side, I have a combination of peppers and lettuce. These are orange bell peppers, and I'm hoping that they survive. They were eaten down quite a bit by the pill bugs. I think I transplanted them when they were a little too young, and they were a little stressed when I planted them in, so they sent out stress signals that called all the bugs, and the bugs just tried to take them out. But they seem to have made it through, and they've gotten taller and the stems have gotten a bit thicker, so they're not as easily to chew on. So, and this one even has some flowers, so hopefully we'll get some orange bell peppers. That would be awesome. Now this one I'm not too sure if it's going to make it. It literally has one leaf left, but you never know. These plants are amazing and they can come back from anything. So I'm going to just leave it and let it do its thing and see what happens. So there's that. And then coming back around here, I have a bunch of scallions that are flowering. And inside of here, I have some tomatoes and calendula. This is a sun gold tomato that is struggling a little bit because it's not really in the full sun, but as it gets taller, it'll reach for the sun, and when it gets taller, it'll definitely be getting plenty of sun. I have a little strawberry plant here. Here's my calendula. Again, calendula is great for repelling the tomato hornworm, so that's why I like to grow it around my tomatoes. And then I recently transplanted this tomato plant here that I found growing in one of my strawberry pots. So I dug it up and I replanted it over here. I don't know what variety it is, but we shall see. I think it's a cherry tomato. I don't think it's a larger beefsteak tomato. So I figured having 2 cherry tomatoes here would be perfect. And then Got some oregano. This is my Italian oregano. You can see how much taller this is. And behind that is one of my favorite types of squash, which is the honey nut squash. This plant looks so healthy. I was hoping that the stem would actually go this way so that it can climb up this clay structure and just take over the whole structure, but it'll get another stem, and I'm sure one of the stems will go in that direction. But for now, I'm just gonna leave it and let it go wherever it needs to go. And as you can see, there's some female flowers on here as well. A little squash on it. And there's one here too. So this is called honey nut squash. It kind of looks like a mini butternut squash. And it's so sweet, it's so good. Oh my gosh, it is. I highly recommend growing honey nut squash. And because it's so small, you can easily grow it on a trellis and have it like hang and grow on a structure, because again, they're smaller, and so you don't have to worry about it being too heavy for the trellis to hold up. And then I have some Armenian cucumber, well, just one Armenian cucumber plant. They grow really super large cucumbers. They're technically in the melon family, so you can let them get really large and they don't get bitter. So I'm really excited to have some of that. I like to juice those and make cucumber water. And then I have some lettuce growing, some parsley and more lettuce. This is giant Caesar, and then this I believe is an iceberg lettuce. And then opposite from that, more lettuce. So all of this damage you see is from the bunny that's been coming and chomping at this. And I think I'd rather it chew on this lettuce because I have lettuce everywhere in the garden. So I'd rather it stick to the lettuce and leave my other things alone. So again, trying to find that balance between like letting it come out and eat some food, but also gotta create a healthy amount of fear. So I do scare it away when I see it. Just so that it knows that like, okay, this is my food. You can have some, but it's mine. And then we have some garlic growing here as well. And there is something on the other side that I want to show you, but before we get to that, just because it's closer, we'll come this way. And as you can see, lots of lettuce growing all down this way. As you can see. So there's plenty of lettuce to go around. And I'm just trying to get more things planted in this area in general because it has a lot of bare spots. This is sage. I have a bunch of comfrey growing. Some dill, because I am going to be growing cucumbers up this trellis here. So cucumbers and dill are the perfect combination. You have everything you need to make pickles growing all in the same area. And then in this spot here I think I planted some cucumbers. And then here I planted some green beans. More cucumbers here. They haven't come up yet, so they're still germinating. And then I planted more green beans here. And then of course dill coming all down this way. So yeah, that's what I have planted there. And then I have a black cherry tomato, one of my favorite cherry tomatoes. Looking pretty good. I can tell that it needs a little bit of nutrients because it's a little bit of a lighter green color, but it's healthy enough. I think that as the roots continue to go deeper into the soil, it'll find the nutrients that it needs and get stronger. So, but it's looking good, so I'm gonna let it do its thing and mine what it needs from the soil. And then over here is my other raised bed where I have sweet banana peppers. I've got some beets that some of them are still seeds, they haven't come up yet, but some of them have. And then I have some onions growing on this side. These are red onions. A random, what is this called? I don't remember the name, but it's an edible flower. And then on this side I have some of the white, the white onions all coming up here. And then I have a random black beauty eggplant that I planted here just because I didn't have any other spot to put it. And then I have 2 more squash plants over here. This is the same variety. So I'm trying, because I'm planting so many different types of squash, I try to plant the same varieties close together so that they can cross-pollinate with each other and I get better pollination, which means more fruit. So this is a butternut, just like that one back there. Butternut, honey nut, and another honey nut squash. So I have 3 and I want them all to just grow all up this trellis here. So hopefully that will happen the way I envision. And then back here I had some cabbage, but the bunny ate it. And I have some yard-long green beans growing. As you can see, the bunny did chomp off the stem before it could reach the trellis, but there's a new little head forming here because plants are resilient and amazing. So, and I think the stem at this point is like thicker and more woody, so I don't think the bunny will be able to chew that, but we're gonna let the plant fight back and it'll naturally develop a toxin in its leaves and in the plant in general to where the bunny is not gonna wanna eat it anymore. So as long as it doesn't eat the whole thing, the plant knows that it's being attacked. It does have protective mechanisms in place to where eventually whatever that insect or critter or animal is that's eating it will stop eventually because it'll start to get a tummy ache because of the toxins that the plant produces in order to protect itself. So this one made it though up the trellis, which is awesome. And these are gonna get really long green beans that are really delicious. And then I have some more radish here. Great to plant radish around your squash plants because they deter the squash vine borer, which is supposed to start coming around like now and laying its eggs at the base of the plant. So having lots of herbs and different strong smelling plants around your squash is a really good idea to prevent that from happening. I also have some parsley growing in here as well, all along the squash. So yeah, there's that. And then coming back around this way because I wanted to show you some tomatoes that we have coming on. This is a sun gold tomato, really delicious. It almost tastes like a fruit. Well, a tomato is technically a fruit, but there's no tanginess in this tomato. I mean, it's all sweet. And this is what we have coming on now. We have a few, I think 3 or 4 little sun gold tomatoes coming on. They get like a really bright orangey yellowish color. They're so good. I had them one time from a farmer's market and I've been in love ever since. So I'm really excited that I am successfully growing them this year. Last year wasn't so great, but because we did so many amendments in the soil, organic matter and compost, this plant has really been able to take off. And tomatoes are pretty easy to grow once they get a good start and they get nice and situated in the soil. Once they find that sweet spot in the soil, they just take off, and you really have to control it after that. Like all of the little suckers that come in, like this one in between the armpits, will create a whole new like headed plant. And so I've been plucking those off and rooting them in my propagation station and making a whole new tomato plant. So I expect to have a lot of tomatoes this year. Lastly, we have some more herbs and a strawberry growing here. So this is some cilantro, this is some parsley, and this is a strawberry, and this is my little glass globe that I like to fill with water. I think I might have to, yeah, it seems empty. So I'm gonna take this out and I'm going to refill it with some more water and stick it back into the soil so that these can get consistent water. It's really important that they get consistent water when they are flowering and fruiting. And that right there, that little yellow part in the middle of the flower, is going to turn into a strawberry. So it gets pollinated, and then the little spiky yellow thing turns into this. And then you get a beautiful strawberry. So that concludes this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you were inspired to grow something. And until next time, I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. And don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you liked this video. Thanks so much for watching and have an awesome day.